Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a great week. It is Friday. We are once again getting ready to have an outstanding weekend. But before we kick off the weekend, we got the fourth and final of the Covenant cinematics released by Blizzard yesterday on Thursday. This one was for Revendreth. We had already seen the ones for Bastion and Maldraxxus and Ardenweald, and they were all outstanding. This one is a little different. It breaks the mold. It breaks with the theme just a little bit. There was always every time they released one, there was always a little bit of a different spin. However, this one there was a major deviation from the theme, and in this one there was no death to kick it off. In the one for Bastion, you saw the death of Uther. In the one for Maldraxxus, you saw the death of Draka. And in the one for Ardenweald, you saw the death of Ursoc. In this one, you didn't get a death to kick it off. There is a death, but it's later on, and it's a nameless NPC. This one is narrated by the master of the Revendreth Covenant, the leader of the Venthyr, and his name is Sire Denathrius, who looks remarkably and acts remarkably like a Nethrezim. So we'll see if there's any major connection. I believe there's going to be some major connections between the Nethrezim and Revendreth. So, who is and what is Revendreth? Well, it's the last zone, and again, this is just based on notes and readings that I've read because I have not had access to the beta. But Revendreth is going to be the fourth zone that we go through when we play through Shadowlands. We'll go through Bastion and Maldraxxus and Ardenweald first, and then Revendreth will take us up to level 60, and they'll put us right into the middle of in-game content. I believe Revendreth is going to be a major problem. They're going to be the antagonists, or turn out to be the antagonists for Shadowlands. I believe, I could be, and again, I could be wrong, but I believe Denathrius, the leader of Revendreth, is in league with the jailer. I think he is helping the jailer try to dismantle and take over the Shadowlands. So, without further ado, let's see what we have to look forward to. And I may pause and stop every once in a while. Again, this is not the first time I've seen this cinematic. This is not a reaction. So, hopefully this is not the first time you'll be seeing it as well. But anyway, let's without further ado, let's kick this off and see what they have to offer. Thank you very much, Nanmill. Thank you. I appreciate that subscription. Awesome. Thank you very much. And now, without further ado, we will kick it off and watch the cinematic. Here we go.
To the good people of Revendreth, it is with optimism that I address you today. Though these are challenging times. Firstly, I assure you that our holy mission to help the most violent and wicked souls atone for their sins is and always will be our utmost priority.
Okay, right off the bat, this Revendreth exists to reform. So these cats are this is the zone, this is the covenant that gets the souls that are bad, but not quite bad enough to be sent to the maw where there's no hope of escape, right? It's not quite hell. It's like Dante's Inferno level 7. There's still hope for redemption, though. And that's what Revendreth is supposed to be doing. That's Denathrius' job in the Shadowlands. They take the souls that are, check off one of the 7 deadly sins. That's what these dudes do. And their job is to redeem them, and possibly they can be sent, if they meet that redemption, they can be sent to one of the other 3 covenants. So that's the role. You get the vibe, though, right off the bat, that this dude is just an a-hole, right? I mean, he is pompous, he's arrogant, He is super condescending. You can look at the look on the guy's face, and you'll see it again a little bit later on. His little minion that's taking down and writing down everything that Denathrius is saying. So just in the first 30 seconds, the first minute of this video, you see all of the qualities in Denathrius that the souls that he's supposed to be redeeming shared. That's what got them there to Revendreth, and he's he exceeds in all of those by leaps and bounds. This guy is just a tool, and he's sour from the get go, and that's one of the first things that hits you right out of the gate. The next thing is you look at the anima in Revendreth, and these souls are being tortured. They're not being rehabilitated, they're being tortured. And just the magics involved by the rehabilitation looks a lot like blood magic from what was the name of the blood troll tribe that we just saw in BFA and had to take care of. It reminds me of Hakar, the blood god from the original ZG. It's not pure. It's not, when you think of a soul, it's not. I don't know. It feels dirty, and it feels like it's been corrupted already, or they're corrupting it maybe when they suck it out of the people they're supposed to be rehabilitating. So yeah, it reminded me a lot of blood magic. So anyway, let's keep going here.
Our rituals are effective.
Right. I mean, in every one of these shots, again, just real quick, these souls are being tortured, which again, it's, you see later on, you see denizens, you see citizens of Revendreth, and they look decrepit and beat down and just zero hope, which makes you wonder, have they already gone through the rehabilitation process and they made it so they're not being tortured, actively? They're just tortured by the fact they have to live and remain in Revendreth for all eternity. So anyway, good questions.
Our judgment keen, but
look at that. These guys are just
we Venthyr
A-hats.
remain committed to bringing eventual redemption to all who desire it. It is through your faithful work that even the most evil and prideful beings may ultimately be spared an eternity in the maw.
Right. So again, the most evil, the most prideful beings. So as I don't know, I guess there's evil tier 1 and evil tier 2, and evil tier 2 makes it and can possibly be redeemed in Revendreth, or before they get shipped off. In evil tier 1 gets shipped off to the mall without question, and which again goes back to the very first cinematic that we got for Bastion, and how Devos and Uther, once he was raised to aspirant, went down, grabbed Arthas' soul. There was no arbiter to determine where he should go. They capture his soul, they interrupt the process, and they send him straight to the mall. So you have to wonder, would he have gone to the mall anyway? Or is it possible, because again, I shot the theory out a few weeks ago that maybe, it's in concurrence with others' opinion as well. Maybe Arthas was not in complete control, and maybe it was the jailer who was the true Lich King the entire time. So maybe Arthas can be given a little bit of a pass. Like, he fought it as best he could, but he had zero control. So maybe Arthas would have gone to Revendreth instead of the mall. So it's a fair question. So we'll see.
Unfortunately, of late, the flow of such hubris-ridden souls has virtually ceased.
Right. Again, so I think we now know that Denathrius is hoarding anima either for himself and his most loyal and, higher body of advisors, or he's shipping it off in part to the jailer as part of their plan to retake the Shadowlands. So this is obviously a lie, right? This is the tyrant's justification and the placation to the subjects, to the peasants, about why he's doing what he's doing, and you should still love him anyway, because he has your best interest at heart.
And as a result,
we've heard this
our
countless times through the millennium.
Resource is in dwindling supply. Even we, the faithful who extract the anima, have not been spared the effects of this mysterious drought.
Right? Okay, again, look at these guys. They're beat down, sorrowful, zero hope. And then you've got this cat over here on the left who's, one of the chosen and, living the high life. And these people have to give part of their souls as a tax to keep the covenant, the realm, going. So this is a soul tax. This is literally a soul tax on the denizens of Revendreth. So again, are these people, these souls, have they already been rehabilitated and they're now living out a meager existence in Revendreth? Like, without having access to the beta and seeing the complete story, I'm very interested to see the behind the scenes stuff of these covenants. And Revendreth is just tons of questions. This cinematic gave me way more questions than answers, even though it gave me a few little tidbits for conjecture. But these beings died on whatever mortal realm they lived on, whether it was Azeroth or another planet somewhere in the cosmos, and they ended up in Revendreth. Okay, so they were pretty bad people. One of the 7 deadly sins, right? Pretty bad. Lustful, prideful, evil, not so evil, not to be sent to the mall. But now they're here, and they've whatever portion of their soul they have left that survived the rehabilitation process, I'm assuming, they're now taxed on that in order for Denathrius to hoard anima for himself and send the rest of it to the jailer as part of their plan. So again, it just, what do these people do? I mean, what you see it in Ardenweald, they have groves, the grove keepers take care of the groves and the souls there so they can be called back to whatever mortal realm if they chose to do so. Very druidic in nature. In Bastion, their entire existence is predicated on the fact that they ferry the souls from the mortal realms to the Shadowlands, to the Arbiter, and then they get divvied up to one of the covenants, like one of the 4 houses in Hogwarts. So, but they have order, and they have a reason to exist. Once they make it to their covenant, they have a reason to exist. What do these guys do every day, however long a day is? So, again, tons of questions that this cinematic posed. What's up, Trey? How's it going, buddy? Hope you had a good week.
Yes, we still have our old reliables, our workhorses.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. So this is Garrosh Hellscream, right? A prick if there ever was one in Warcraft. And Denathrius just straight up tells us, we still have our old reliables, our workhorses, the beings that their souls are so corrupted and tainted and twisted that we can draw on them and draw on their anima as part of their rehabilitation, and that'll keep us going. But even those guys are running out. We're tapping them. They're starting to tap out, right? So again, another question that popped up: how many of these workhorses do they have in Revendreth? How many would they need to have a society or a covenant that's flourishing, if that's the right word, where there is no shortage of anima? Kel'Thas is another NPC that I'm assuming Denathrius is torturing as part of his rehabilitation. And you've got Garrosh. How many others are there? Who knows? It's a good question. But But Garrosh did some pretty heinous things, but he still got sent to Maldraxxus. Kael'thas, actually, I don't think Kael'thas was nearly as bad as Garrosh. I mean, Kael'thas was just, at the end of the day, he was corrupted and he got addicted to fel magic, but they were between a rock and a hard place, right? They were behind the eight ball. The Sunwell had just been destroyed. They had nothing, and he was faced with serious addiction. So he threw his lot in with Illidan and eventually with the Burning Legion, all for the sake of trying to rebuild and save his people. Now, I don't think he was completely altruistic, right? But I don't think you can equate him to Garrosh Hellscream. I mean, Kael'thas had some pretty horrendous things done to him. You could easily see anyone making the decisions that he made. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he could not be equated to Garrosh Hellscream. So, is Kael'thas in the same boat as Garrosh is, being sucked of his soul as part of rehabilitation, and then that anima being sent off to Denathrius' lavish parties and or to the jailer as part of him rebuilding the army and the power base to retake the Shadowlands? Good questions. Hopefully we'll get answers.
Yet I fear they will not be enough.
Yeah, they won't be enough.
We are doing everything in our power to gather more anima. But, simply put, we must all, rich and poor alike, make sacrifices for the greater good. Therefore, I have decided to implement a strategy of conservation and rationing, which should keep the anima flowing to those most in need.
Yeah, look at that. Okay.
In this manner, we will keep our people strong and our land healthy.
Right, okay, so he goes into a little bit of there. So apparently the more anima they get, this conservation practice is going to help them keep their land strong and healthy. So it's already got an old Gothic, Victorian Gothic, old England, London vibe going on for this covenant. So you got to think strong and healthy for them is not exactly the same as strong and healthy for Ardenweald, where you have groves of magical, lush forests. To them, to Denathrius, a strong and healthy realm would be towering spires of black obsidian, and everyone gets to bathe in anima for the rest of eternity. So you finally get this NPC, and again, there's no name given for this guy. I mean, he's just a nameless schlub, right? And he breaks away, and you see him. He's taking his contribution of anima, of his soul, that he's supposed to be giving to Denathrius, and he's trying to help out these other three nameless denizens of Revendreth.
Despite the efforts of those who would use this crisis to further their own ends and rebel against the rightful structures of our society.
Just an ass.
Rest assured, we shall bring these miscreants to justice. With fairness and mercy, of course.
Okay. So again, this is another one of those huge questions, and then that just, led to more questions for me. So you're in the Shadowlands, you have died, right? There is just, I guess for mechanics purposes, there's a physical portion of you, like you can be touched. There's some physicality there, but as I understand it, the Shadowlands is just that's a repository for souls, and your soul, I guess, can take on the appearance for normalcy and to look as if you did in life, in whatever planet you lived on, right? But you're dead, right? You're dead. As punishment in Revendreth, you can be tossed into the light. Now, again, this ties back to the whole vampiric feel. This zone, as far as I've seen anyway, and this vibe that you get from Revendreth, Reminds me a lot of the old school Vampire the Masquerade tabletop game from White Wolf. And it's vampiric centric, right? So all the old rules apply. Sunlight will kill a vampire quicker than anything. And here we have the exact same thing happening to this guy who's already dead, and he's being thrown into the light as punishment. That's his capital punishment. He's being sentenced to death. And you can see he's already starting to dust. He's starting to turn to ash. He's going to petrify. Also note in the background, the guard or the police, whatever this guy is, he's one of Denathrius's brute squad, for lack of a better term. He is not going into the light. His weapon is in the light. He is staying back in the shadows, probably because the light will kill him too. So again, weird rules to a realm of the dead where you can still be killed by the light. And where is this light coming from? It makes me wonder, again, really want to go in and dive into Revendreth now and find out, okay, is it cavernous? Is it basked in night, as a vampiric world probably would be? You can see, let me go back just a little bit here. This cavern that he's emerging from, it looks like a cavern, and there's sunlight piercing the clouds. And there's some more spires off in the distance. So Revendreth citizens live in these. I guess they just have no windows, I'm guessing. Again, just more questions. But the light is the punishment, right? So when you do something bad and Denathrius has deemed you unworthy to continue to be rehabilitated in Revendreth, you are permanently erased from existence. Or at least I'm assuming that's what happens, right? Because you're already dead. Whatever is left of your soul in Revendreth is further erased by being tossed into the light.
Justice. With fairness and mercy, of course. I am, after all, nothing if not compassionate. My loyal subjects.
Look at the look on that guy's face.
All that can be done to stimulate anima production.
I mean,
and fulfill Revendreth's honorable purpose.
He's ready to jump kick him right in the throat.
Remain devout and resolute. And know that I will lead us all into a brighter future.
Interesting, right? Very, very interesting. So it seems, I mean, just based on that, again, the running theory would be that Denathrius is in league with the jailer, and this is part of their plot to hoard anima in the Shadowlands, drain the other three covenants, weaken, dismantle, disrupt the other three covenants, and retake the Shadowlands. Because it could be, again, part of the bigger plot to fight the Void. But man, Revendreth. I mean, jeez, there's going to be an uprising, right? I would bet my right arm there is going to be an uprising in Revendreth, and Denathrius is going to get his. I mean, I think that's going to be part of the process, going to be part of the playthrough on how we solve the problem and right the wrongs in Revendreth, as Denathrius is going to be toppled. I mean, you saw the look on his little scribe's face. I mean, if he could have gotten away with it, he would have jump mule kicked Denathrius right in the throat, right there on the spot, and killed him, without a doubt, without wasting any time. If he could get away with it, he would do it. And he may still try to do it, and a lot of people may try to do it even though they know they won't get away with it. So, again, and we're probably going to be part of that uprising. That's probably going to be part of the plot line, or at least, that's what I'm assuming, because that guy's got to go. But again, remember, the leader, and I forget his name, of Maldraxxus, tells the player and other NPCs that in order to stop the jailer, all four, not two or three, but all four of the covenants and their masters must stand united, or there is zero chance of stopping the jailer. because if he gets out of the Maw and gets into the Shadowlands proper, it's over for the Shadowlands and the other three covenants as they know it, right? And it's very similar language to, and again, leading credence to the Sargeras ties with the Jailer and them being on the same team from day one, or maybe day one, not from day one, but from the beginning of the formation of the Burning Legion to fight the Void and the Shadow and the Old Gods. Is that language is very similar to how Sargeras was explained. If you go back and read the trilogy, the Well of Eternity, Corelstraz, Crassus, one of the Red Dragons, he was one of the consorts of Alexstrasza. In his human form, he was also a member of the ruling circle of Dalaran. Very, very, very powerful magic user and one of the most powerful red dragons, right? He told Ronan straight up, he's like, if Sargeras, I think it was Crassus, I could be wrong. I think it was Crassus, though. But he stated, if Sargeras makes it through the portal that they're trying to turn the Well of Eternity into, if he steps one toe on Azeroth, it is over. There is nothing we can do. There's no united front. There's no magic user. There's no Hail Mary. There's no miracle. It is over for Azeroth. Very similar to what the leader of Maldraxxus is telling the players and the NPCs. If the Jailer makes it out of the Maw, it is over for the Shadowlands and the other three covenants, or the four covenants. I mean, it's just over. There's nothing that can be done because this guy, as he's been explained before, he's God. He's Titan level powers, Titan / God power level of powers. Plus plus. He is that powerful. So again, tying back a little bit to the Jailer and Sargeras. You see Torghast, which is the mirror image of Icecrown Citadel, and it's when Sylvanas ripped apart the Helm of Domination and breached the barrier between the two realms of life and death. You can clearly see that Torghast was meant to be a mirror of Icecrown Citadel and vice versa. Well, that's not the first time that a breach between the two realms has occurred. There was a couple of times where they tried to do it. They tried to do it with the Well of Eternity. Those two, or that first one with the well, wasn't really a breach between two realms. They were just trying to turn it into a massive portal so Sargeras could enter into Azeroth proper, because the Well of Eternity would be one of the few things that could actually do it and be powerful enough to, allow him to pass through. Kael'thas, again, another denizen of Revendreth, did turn the Sunwell into another similar portal, because the Sunwell in essence was a mini Well of Eternity. The same waters or life essence that created the Well of Eternity, a mere fraction of it was used to create the Sunwell. That's how the Blood Elves, or then the High Elves, the Centauri, created their empire up in Quel'Thalas, right? So those two, the Well of Eternity and the Sunwell, was basically just portals used. However, there was a true instance on Azeroth where the realms and the barrier between two realms was breached. And that's with Karazhan. And again, that was a Sargeras project. Sargeras had possessed Medivh in the womb, and he used Medivh to turn Karazhan into a giant beacon for the Burning Legion. You see that back in the original raid when you fight Prince Melkazar. He says, he has entire realms open at his command because of Karazhan. When you go through and you do Karazhan the dungeon, that they when they remade it into a dungeon, same dude. It's a different being, but it's one of the floating eyeballs demons. Where Prince Melkazar was in the original. He says the same thing. Karazhan is a beacon to the Burning Legion, to demons, to the Twisting Nether. So Sargeras was trying to do, had the same idea and was toying with the same thing and the same concept that the jailer was using for Torghast and Icecrown Citadel. Once that barrier was breached, we can now move back and forth, theoretically, into the Shadowlands for the first time ever. Well, with Karazhan, that was also tried. So again, just pretty cool similarities between the two. And again, if it turns out, and I believe it's pretty much a given now that we're going to find out that Sargeras and the Jailer have been working hand in hand for a long, long time. This is all part of their master plan to engage and defeat the Void or the Shadow. So again, it was a cool cinematic. I think it's my least favorite one of the four. I mean, there was no big, to me anyway. And again, I don't have beta access, so there may be more context within Revendreth, and the Venthyr as you play through on the beta. I don't know how much you were able to get out of the beta in their story, because I know it is the fourth zone that you will go through. But that's the first time we get introduced properly to Denathrius. He seems like a tool. The entire ruling class of Revendreth seem like a bunch of right a-holes that you want to kill. Like, just seeing that trailer, I'm like, I kind of thought that these, as well as progressing the story a little bit, I kind of thought these cinematics were going to be used as kind of like, infomercials. They're advertisements for the Covenants, right? You get hyped about, okay, I thought I was going to join this one, but now I saw that cinematic and now I want to join that one. That's kind of how I felt after watching Bastion. I thought I wanted to join Revendreth because it sounded a little cooler and I liked the aesthetic. Then I saw Bastion and I'm like, holy crap, that's awesome. We're going to get to play through Uther's story and hopefully see a little bit more of Arthas and get to dive into that rabbit hole. But finally get to seeing Revendreth, I'm like, man, I don't want any part of that. I do not want to go down that road at all. Those guys need to die. That whole covenant needs to be burned and started over. That's no. Who would want to throw their lot in with those guys? Unless you wanted to, plan the uprising and the overthrow of Denathrius, which, again, that's probably what you're going to be doing if you join that covenant. That's probably what you're going to be doing. I will make a character and join Revendreth, but it'll probably be the fourth one I do. I'll see the other three first. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. They still have some of the coolest aesthetics, though. I mean, I dig the vampiric, the old gothic vampiric look and feel. That is pretty cool. I always enjoyed Vampire the Masquerade. It was a fun game. But anyway, please let me know what you think. Please leave comments and questions or call me out on something I missed. Please do not forget to follow and like and subscribe my YouTube channel. This is where I'll be cutting and editing and posting this analysis video a little bit later on, and also on my Twitch channel as well. I'll put the links in the description description box on YouTube. So please, likes, follows, subscriptions, always appreciated, always loved. With that, I'm going to sign off. You guys have a great weekend. We've got just a few more weeks, and we will be kicking off the pre-patch for Shadowlands. I'm excited. Hope you are too. Anyway, peace out. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you later on. Bye-bye.